2 years ago, Cheri Beasley lost her race for North Carolina Supreme Court Justice by just 400 votes. Now she's hoping to parlay that experience into a seat in the United States Senate.
Congressman Budd is the one who's been in Congress for 6 years. He's had every opportunity to show us that he's going to stand for North Carolina, and it is his failure in failing to do so.
Beasley says access to abortion is one of the key issues she's encountered on the campaign trail. At what point in a pregnancy do you view that abortion should be illegal, if at all?
I think the foundational question really has to be, who makes the decision? Is it a woman and her physician, or is it the government? Roe versus Wade told us that it's a constitutional right for reproductive freedom for women to make this decision without government interference.
Beasley would not commit to a specific point in a pregnancy where abortion should be illegal, but said the standard of Roe versus Wade should be followed. Another top issue, the economy and inflation taking its toll on families across the state. Beasley says more legislation is needed to bring manufacturing and tech jobs to the state and hold companies accountable.
We certainly know that we are still dealing with the impact of the supply chain issues here in North Carolina. And we also know that there are corporations that are price gouging right now at a time when they are seeing record profits.
Beasley applauds the gun control measures passed by Congress in June and the bipartisan Safer Communities Act. Both Republicans Thom Tillis and Richard Burr voted to pass the bill, while Beasley's opponent, Representative Ted Budd, voted against it in the House. President Biden has said several times that he plans to ban all assault weapons if he can. Is that something you'd support?
I know it's really important for us to be thinking comprehensively about how we keep our schools safe, how we keep our children safe, and it is important that we have other things in place like universal background checks and red flag laws, and to get these ghost guns off our streets.
So a complete assault weapons ban?
I think we have to really look at things and really, this is a really complex issue. And I know it is important that people are fearful that we're going to trample Second Amendment rights, but it is important that we balance, because there is a balance. There are folks who rightfully own and use firearms, but it's also important to make sure that we're keeping firearms out of the hands of people who are dangerous.
Though the majority of law enforcement groups have endorsed Budd, Beasley touts her endorsements from several sheriffs in the state as evidence of her support.
I don't support defund the police, I support funding the police. And I know that law enforcement officers need funding for retention and for recruitment of good candidates. I know they need funding for training and for mental health. I know they need funding to tackle the opioid crisis.
Beasley calls immigration reform needed and says she wants to secure the border. She argues agricultural work visas and a pathway to citizenship for those already here are necessary steps. Does that not just encourage more illegal immigration if you provide that pathway for people that may have immigrated here illegally?
You know, I think if we have a system that really works, and if we have people who are making contributions to this country, and we know that there are folks who are, we know that there are folks who are honorably serving in our military, that there has to be a pathway to citizenship for some folks. There's some folks who we're not going to welcome into this country, and that's okay as well.
We then asked Beasley to identify the biggest difference between herself and Representative Budd in this high-profile race.
Having one who is an election denier, who called the mob that stormed the Capitol patriots, who failed to certify the 2020 election and voted against the legislation that would secure our elections just recently. In my mind, that really ought to be a disqualification.
Beasley has significantly out-fundraised and outspent Representative Ted Budd in this race, and she's hoping that campaign blitz will be able to sway the state's swing voters. Fort Hatchett, WXII 12 News.